What's going on, folks? Zach from Uchuu Shelf here. Hope you guys are doing good and reading lots of manga. Today I want to talk to you guys about a brand new manga that I have been reading recently. It's only got one volume out. It's from a scrappy up-and-coming publisher. And while I was already sold on this manga from the cover art alone, someone described it to me as Promised Neverland meets Parasite, and I thought, those two things don't mix together, and holy hell, yes they do. And the manga I want to talk to you guys about today is Masakazu Ishiguro's Heavenly Delusion. So without further ado, let's get into it. Heavenly Delusion is a science fiction manga created by Masakazu Ishiguro, the creator of Soredemo Machi wa Mowatteiru, also known as And Yet the Town Moves. The series is set in two contrasting places, one of them being this sort of perfect care facility run completely by robots, and the other being this completely run-down post-apocalyptic world inhabited by these absolutely terrifying creatures. The first volume focuses mostly on the outside world, following Maru and his hired bodyguard Kiruko as they scavenge the wasteland once known as Tokyo in search of heaven. Much of their journey at the beginning of the manga has been them searching for food and shelter. They'd find run-down houses, find tin food, and collect whatever they can. Fortunately for Maru, Kiruko possesses a very strange yet powerful gun that helps them out of a number of situations, such as when they're traveling and they're approached by a group of bandits. While on their journey, Maru and Kiruko come across an abandoned inn that's actually still operating and run by a woman that's inhabiting it. She offers the two a hot meal, a place to bathe, and a place to sleep for the night, but warns them of a very strange creature that has been lurking around the inn and warns them to be careful about it. However, Maru and Kiruko are determined to pay back this woman's kindness by completely taking out the creature, despite all of the terrible complications that come with that. Later on, Maru and Kiruko come across a farming commune that they jokingly call Tomato Heaven. And after they take a break, get to know some of the residents, they decide that they're going to take a boat there back to Tokyo, thus continuing their journey in search of heaven, whatever that means to them. Breaking up Maru and Kiruko's journey are these chapters that follow a young boy called Tokyo and his day-to-day life in this perfect care facility, demanding drawings from a more artistic resident, lamenting and absolutely loathing pop quizzes, and unraveling a growing fascination and curiosity with what lays beyond the walls of the only world he's ever known. One of Tokyo's friends at the facility plays into his fascination with the outside world by telling him that whenever she thinks of escaping the walls and going to the outside world, that the person she thinks of saving them is a young man with the same face as Tokyo. With his curiosity piqued, Tokyo eventually comes to learn about the true harsh reality of the world outside the walls from the director of the facility, which she describes to him as the run-down hellscape that Maru and Kiruko have been journeying this whole time. Now, sometime last year, I made a video talking about all the upcoming releases in the manga world that I was super duper excited about, and right at the top of that list was Masakazu Ishiguro's Heavenly Delusion. It had already really piqued my interest just based on the cover art and the synopsis alone. I had no idea what to really expect about this manga, and to be perfectly honest, I completely forgot about this manga until I was watching DENPA's Anime Expo Light panel. In addition to the new releases they were talking about, they also showed off their catalog thus far, and when they got to the Heavenly Delusion section of the panel, they showed off this really gorgeously animated short PV, which made me instantly break my wallet out and go, "One manga, please." As I mentioned, going into this manga, I had a vague inkling of what it was about just based on the synopsis and the cover art alone, both of which sounded exactly up my alley, but I was not ready for how many of the right notes this manga was going to hit for me. Fans of almost any type of media know that feeling when you get super into something, you get to the end of it, and you feel that sort of hollow emptiness that comes with not being able to experience that for the first time again. That's exactly what I felt like at the end of this manga. So much in fact that I went online, tried to buy volume 2, realized it wasn't going to be out for a couple months, and went... Now, I'll leave a couple timestamps below because there are a couple parts in this manga I do want to talk about and that are going to be a little bit of a spoiler. So if you do want to go into this manga completely blind, you can definitely skip ahead to my rating about it and go from there. It wasn't so much the contrast between the facility and the outside world that really sucked me in, as much as it was the way these two worlds were explored, and the way that there's almost a separate mystery around the both of them, despite there being some sort of obvious entanglement. Whether or not we get to that early on in this series or later on is yet to be seen, but what was really interesting is that even though we explored so much by the end of Volume 1, we're left with not only more questions, but barely any answers. The apocalyptic world itself is pretty self-explanatory, but how exactly did it get this way? The care facility shielding its residents from the outside world is also pretty self-explanatory, but why is it there? How did it start? What is its purpose? It leaves us with a sort of burning curiosity that makes us question the world around us or travel it, despite there being these absolutely horrifying monsters in it. Now, there were two parts of Heavenly Delusion that really stuck with me even a week after reading this manga. The first is when we get to see our very first Kiruko, which is one of many names for these absolutely terrifying creatures that are roaming post-apocalyptic Tokyo and presumably the rest of the world. The first time we get to see one is when Maru and Kiruko are at the inn. The woman tells them that there is one of these monsters that is tormenting the inn, to stay inside at night, don't go outside, don't engage with it, but they're so determined to pay back her kindness that they say, "Nope, we'll take care of it for you." And they go out and they do just that, but the way that it all unfolds really caught me off guard. As Maru and Kiruko rush to go fight it, she gets between them and goes, no, don't. That's my son. Which when I was reading it, made me go, whoa. Which leads to another mystery on top of an already mystery-filled world that I want to know more about. I want to know what these creatures are. Were they human before? Have they always been human? Are they like mutants? Like, what are they and what are their purpose? Now, the woman who runs the inn is so convinced that at least a part of her son is still conscious within this monster. So much, in fact, that she's absolutely certain that the monster is actually protecting her and the inn. Which I see in a lot of media, not just manga and anime, where it's like, look, no, don't hurt this monster. It's so nice and it's kind and it'll save everything. And it ends up doing that, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but not here, not in Heavenly Delusion. Without missing a beat, this monster cuts his mom into little pieces, and then, I don't really know how to describe it, like, melts into the mom to eat it, it's really hard to describe, but it was like, ooh. Now, even after the woman at the end is eaten, the two of them completely kill the monster, but that still leaves me with more questions. Why is their son a monster? Why are there monsters to begin with? Are there other monsters? Are there bigger monsters? Are they going to turn into monsters? And perhaps what sold me the most, not just on the first volume, but the entire series as a whole, was the reveal at the end of the first volume. And the reason I really enjoyed it is because it comes across as very shocking and sudden. But when you sort of add everything up from the beginning of the manga to this point, it really makes sense. Now, at the end of the first volume, Maru basically feeling bombs Kiruko. He says, look, I'm in love with you. I know the world sucks right now, but I want to be with you. And while Kiruko is very flattered, Kiruko basically says, look, I was born with the body of a woman, but my brain is male. I'm a guy. Now, there were a couple of things that really stood out to me when I saw this reveal and I was reading through it the second time that was like, okay, yeah, this does make sense. And while a lot of the traits I'm about to describe are not solely limited to male protagonists or male manga characters, Kiruko exhibited a lot of traditional shonen male protagonist traits, like being headstrong, diving into action without thinking, just always being tough and always protecting everyone. But then there's a scene at the end when Kiruko's about to have a bath and he's looking at his female body with this sort of longing sadness that I thought was a little bit strange. I thought maybe he's just really into himself or something, and while I don't know what it's like to go through body dysmorphia or anything related to trans issues, I would imagine that they were looking at their body and thinking, this doesn't feel right. Not only do we get to explore this world that's completely teeming with intrigue and mystery with every turn we take, we get to explore it with a character that's sort of underrepresented in most media. So when I go ahead and recommend Heavenly Delusion to people, I can say, yeah, it has a little bit of something for everyone, including trans representation. Which you don't get to say about a lot of manga, but it's really good that we can say that about this one. Now, Heavenly Delusion by Masakazu Ishiguro, I am giving a 9.5 out of 10. And the only reason I took away that half point is because this manga had too many mysteries. There was a lot of stuff that was introduced in this manga that didn't get even remotely touched on towards the end of it. And I know with mystery, you gotta drag it out and sort of explore these things as time goes on. But this left me with so many questions that, yes, I'm going to buy the other volumes, but I want to know now. Because I'm an impatient modern consumer and I need to know everything right now all at once. When I first read Heavenly Delusion, I didn't know I was going to enjoy it this much. It actually surprised me with how much I enjoyed it, and I almost never read stuff again right away. But pretty much once I put this down, it was a couple hours went by and I thought, you know what? I gotta read it again. It has literally something for everybody. It has mystery, it has drama, it has really well-written characters. The two main characters, Maru and Kiruko, are absolutely phenomenal, and the dynamic between the two of them works just so perfectly. The settings around it are beautiful, even if they are a little bit decrepit and destroyed. And what I love about this manga too is that even though I complained about there being too many mysteries, I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea what's next. It could literally go anywhere, and regardless of which direction it takes, it's gonna be a really awesome ride. You can pick up Masakazu Ishiguro's Heavenly Delusion from DENPA Publishing here in the West. I'll leave some links in the description below. Volume 1 you can get physically and digitally, and Volume 2 is coming out later this year. But thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it encourages you to pick up Heavenly Delusion. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Uchuu Shelf. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video around. Your support means a heck of a lot to me, and it shows me that you guys want to see more manga-related content like this. And as always, don't forget to support legal manga. Go to www.wherecanireadmanga.com to get the lowdown on where you can read manga for free, through a subscription or per volume, and do it all in a way that supports the manga industry, helps us get more manga like this. But anyways, folks, until next time, happy reading.